What is even up? It's your boy Crabman here with my boy Hackenstein. Welcome to the Hypnotic Hootout. How are you doing?
Did you wait like for a second for me to say my name myself?
No,
Oh, okay. Felt like it.
I would never. That's not how this intro goes.
Yeah, cheers.
To another successful week. Survived, I suppose.
Exactly. You asked me how my week was, right?
Yes.
Well, I guess more rhetorical question, being that I was here the whole week again.
I guess.
It was great, as always. Some very good food you cooked. Very amazing food, to be honest.
It's true.
Definitely one of the perks of staying here. Yeah, and lots of programming. We played, well, mainly Day of the Tentacle, basically Day of the Tentacle.
Mostly that.
And yeah, now we're here.
It's true. Yeah, it was kind of a more relaxed week. You know, after the last couple, I kind of got myself into this sort of, avalanche of deadlines. It was nice, yeah, which kind of, puts me, I don't know if we talked about that last time or if I just told you this over the week.
This will be a question we can ask more than once today, I think.
No, but I get into a sort of constant, like always on, always putting out fires, always, working on the next thing that's...
Feeling there's always something left that's not being done right now.
Yeah, and it happened because there were actually a couple of deadlines I had over a very short amount of time, and so I was in this mode of, okay, I gotta worry about the next thing. Okay, now I gotta worry about the next thing, and it kind of didn't stop. Like also over, that's why last week was pretty stressful, and I also noticed that I can't turn that off really. That I have to really force myself to not work because, like, instinctively, I well, I could work on this or just prototype that, or like to get into kind of trick myself into doing more work by framing it as if it's a hobby. But that we have like a clear plan of what we want to do when, that we have working hours basically, and then we just hang out and relax. We kind of have to because,
So that did work.
That works.
Yeah.
That,
I just was like thinking of basically that what you're describing is crunch, right? Do you have a deadline, then you reach it just to get the next deadline that's possible again, and then you go deadline to deadline, and you overthink, like, next week I'll probably have free to relax.
Yes.
But if you get to the end of that deadline, you will land in the next.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that that helped, to kind of give each other structure, I guess, through... I can't just go to my computer and work for fun because you need to be entertained with movies and stuff like that. So that would be rude. So
very rude, yeah.
More time where you have to relax. And then I also keep you from working too long because you always wanna go past the set working hours.
Not always. Only when I didn't get to start at the start we talked about, Well,
I feel like I have to remind you a lot that it's time.
Well,
to stop, not to start, of course. To stop.
Today I did remind you, in fact. Oh, you already started cooking, right?
I was already starting to cook. Well, anyway, so yeah, it was a nice week. Getting into some new projects, or like thinking about it, what we're gonna do next year.
Yeah, thinking a lot about getting funding, right?
Yes. The the German Games Fund that opens on September 28th. Although there's no deadline, it seems. They're just gonna let it run until
the money's gone. Until the money's gone,
But since it can go over multiple years, I guess it also replenishes.
No, the money will be like taken away for the years it goes, the project. So they already like, if they, I assume if they have like the 50 million, was it 50 million?
Per year, yes.
Yeah, if they have it like in projects, no matter how long the projects will go, if like a project goes 5 years, they already know how much money they can expect from the funding at max. So that money is gonna be fixed. And if the 50 million are gone for the year, that's when
sure, when they're
stops,
gone, but
right?
No, but because in the stuff it says, and hello, Wendesil. So like in their regulations, it said that the funding will now run until a new call is issued, but that the maximum is the end of 2021. So like it goes from now until the maximum length, if it isn't renewed in some form in between, would be the year after next, or like the end of next year, I guess. But it has to spend this year's 50 million because it's an annual budget. So I would think that next year they have another 50. They wouldn't get 100 now.
Yeah,
like it comes every year with the budget. So I would think that next year it should replenish again,
I guess.
Or like they just did that in case they're gonna renew it anyway, but they just put in like this extension for if something prevents them, so that they're covered or something. Because it is
interesting,
weird.
But I'd assume that they'll be easily able to spend all that money on projects.
For sure. But yes, so that's something we're working on, figuring out what we're gonna do next.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I guess I have a really concrete idea actually, but gotta write it out, gotta explain it, make sure it fits the cultural test.
Yeah, but that should be easy. Right?
Yeah, I'm just saying so. What I'm doing is I'm working on that. Okay. I'm writing those things.
Yeah.
And sure, no, of course I can sell any old nonsense. That's not hard to say. That this is thematically about this, which is true even.
Yeah.
So it's I guess you can always kind of exaggerate maybe, or like sell it, right? You sell the value that you think this brings to the German cultural landscape.
Basically.
Just feels weird because we wouldn't usually talk like that. Or presume that it has, what we're doing has cultural value.
Yeah. It feels like you did the other way around, right? You do something and then you're gonna think about.
And then you just find out, wow.
Find it out. Yeah, basically.
Now you have to like think about it in those terms and tell them why is our stuff so very valuable.
This will change the world.
Here's why.
Yeah.
So yes, that should be fun. There's still a lot of planning to do, and I think it's first come, first serve. That's why we're trying to just get in early. Yeah, so let's see how that will go. But that's at least also fun to think about new things.
I think last time it took me 2 months to get all the planning and stuff just for the sketch for the first part you're writing on now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's see how far you get before the deadline.
We'll see. I mean, the most difficult thing is like really the breakdown of what actually has to be done.
Yeah.
And how much it's gonna cost. It's basically, it feels like you have to plan like every detail of the production beforehand, and I mean that's literally what you have to do. And that's just difficult because I'm kind of more of a
it's not your process, right?
I think it's called a pantser, someone who just goes for it.
Okay.
I just know that from writing styles, that whether you're a planner that you outline or a pantser just goes for it.
Pantser in the sense of a tank? No, what?
No, a pantser, like I thought it came from pants, that you're kind of isn't there like a saying with at the seat of your pants or something when you do something like
the seat of your chair, at the edge of your chair,
by
the edge of your seat.
I think something like by the
Might of Grayskull.
By the seat of your pants.
By the seat of your pants.
Slang to describe something improvised or done based on prior experience or by feel. If you don't prepare for a speech, but you just get up, improvise it. This is an example of when you're doing it by the seat of your pants, and I think that's what pantser refers to, that you improvise.
That's a fit, yeah.
And that's how I usually like to do it. I'm not really... I don't know so much of what by the power of Grayskull. There's so much of my process is like figuring it out as I go. I find it very difficult to say, first I will have to do these 5 things and they will take this long, and because I'm kind of used, I guess, from jamming to just start somewhere and just figure it out. And it's when I'm kind of comfortable with it. Now I have to like think through what will I possibly encounter after I've done this, and kind of go along my decision tree and the possibilities that await me at each point to kind of figure that out. Oh man,
I can help you with this. I am definitely a planner.
I'll probably have to. I mean, you'll have to check all this stuff and like make it good anyway. So it's I'm just gonna throw in all the stuff I can figure out, and then I'm sure you have like a lot of complaints about how you have to actually do this, and you're very welcome to help me with that.
Yeah. And you did help me with the game jams, so it's my turn basically.
Yeah. And I did write you the paragraph about the cultural significance of the wizard, which I think turned out very nice.
That's true. Yeah, it's always hard to me. Like when I start like writing, or when I start working on any bigger problem, like for example the save system for the wizard, which I did this week or worked on this week, and I really need to have a plan before I can start confidently. I can't just like go for it and see where it takes me, especially when coding. It's really, but it always means that I'm like at least one day I'm just like thinking about how I want to start it, not doing anything except like thinking about planning it in my head. And then there's usually a day where I start writing it down, and then I start trying to implement it. And usually that means I have to change most of the plan again, that I see how the things actually work. But somehow having a plan and knowing kind of how it will end, even if there are some changes, helps me a ton. Maybe that's because it makes it more like a task you get in school. Like there's an answer for it.
I'm not good at that. It's also with what was I gonna say?
The power of Grayskull.
Indeed. I was about planning versus not really. Oh, right. With theater productions too, right? I have sort of a idea what I have to do. Like talk to the actors, rehearse stuff, and I have to talk to marketing, and I have to figure out staging and certain things and some sound and whatever. Talk with the set designer. I know I didn't have to do all these things, but I kind of I just do them as they come, sort of what makes sense to me, and then towards the end, as I'm figuring out, okay, these are the concrete things that are missing, then I start making lists of okay, I have to do this, and this still, but it only comes with sort of the
pressure
with the rest of things that, well, basically a lot of the main tasks are getting done on sort of a by feel basis, and then everything that's left over, the leftovers, they get basically then properly
collected
so that you don't miss anything.
Okay.
So nothing falls through the cracks. Basically, that's
that's
when I use a plan.
Does kind of sound like most of the work will be done in the last phase.
There's always a lot to be done in the last phase, but a lot of it is also already done. I mean, like, I think that I do in jamming. That once I've built the game, as far as I have it, I know, okay, I have it 6 hours left or something. Then I make a short list of, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this. But it comes in the end, when I'm figuring out what's left. Because I've done a lot of stuff by feel, not after a list or something, by feel. So I have to keep track. I need to then figure out the plan for the end. But I would find it difficult probably to do that in the very beginning and then stick to it.
Yeah, you can't stick to it, of course. I do like just to create a plan, even if it's just like the start of the project, just like the biggest points, the first things I'm going to tackle. It doesn't have to be complete, but I need that list.
Yeah.
And then the more you work on a project, the more like the tasks pop up, and you just add them to the list. Yeah, because I hate to think that I could forget like a great idea for a game, for example, just because I didn't write it down. But now I have like a million different sized notes about the wizard, for example. I mean, that started with the end of the game. I still had like a lot of lists I didn't get to. So I have these, and then all the stuff that I thought of in the between time. And now, of course, getting the new game ready, working on it, the next points come to these lists, and kind of got confused with you doing this. So yeah, I don't even. I think I need a list for all the lists I've created for the wizard. And then I can go list by list, because it's just too much.
So basically, you need a wiki.
Nah, no wiki anymore. I mean,
I mean, that is a list of lists, no?
Yeah, that's what I used to do with all the game designs. Before with Hypnotic, I made you create. Did we have a wiki? Yeah, we had a wiki.
We had one.
In the start. For our first huge project, we used the wiki as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I did. That was my job for, I
liked the wiki.
4 years.
I thought that was nice to have that. It was also very nice on Metal Chaser, but I had extra fun with that because I wrote it myself.
Of course, yeah. That was the time where you wrote everything yourself that we need.
It's fun. It was a lot of fun. It was weirdly, I think, it was pretty robust for this being one of my first like PHP projects. I had only started to learn that like in the middle of filming Nairith. And I built a very rudimentary website where I put like tests up, and
I remember, yeah.
And then I think right after I did that, I wrote the Metal Chaser one. So that was kind of a lot of fun to learn a lot, and that it works. It just kind of with a forum, a wiki, with a Gantt diagram generator. We had an issue tracker You remember that?
Huh.
Sort of like what we use now.
Yeah, we did.
And you could like have that displayed, those tasks, as so you could have a list view, or you could have a Gantt diagram view.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of. I still think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Makes me wonder if we shouldn't like try to create
or like to use the old thing for now.
Upgrade it. I don't know. We have so much trouble with the to-do lists and management software. Tried a lot, and nothing seems to really give me all the features I need.
I guess we could write something like that.
At least for free. I mean,
no, actually,
probably some paid software management stuff or project management software rather that we haven't tried, but
we could super do this. We could even, because my thing, what the first thing was yet now, but the upside of these other things is that they have apps. But the thing is, you could write that too.
It could be like HTML5, right?
This is actually not that hard. It's actually kind of simple. So maybe we should do that. Maybe not for this project.
The only problem would be that we need to make backups. Because
it's not a problem.
If that's gone, then we have a problem.
It's not a problem. I also by the way, we have a Discord server. When is it? I just wanted you to know that. And what did I want to say with that? The Discord. Why was I thinking of the Discord?
Because you also wrote us a little chat for Hypnotic chat.
The backup stuff, right? Because we do a couple of fun things with the bot, with our Discord bot. Part of that is for moderation. Part of that is for making poll creation and stuff easier, to greet people and send them things, and to keep an eye on things. And I use a database of course for that. And I figured out, because I had a lot to figure out in writing this thing. That was actually a really fun programming exercise. Because there was a lot of querying the Twitch API was so exciting to me to figure that out, because I couldn't find a real good tutorial for something that I was looking for. So I just started to read the documentation, try to figure out how they do things, and just to get the status of, is a channel live? Because I wanted to check if we're streaming so that our bot can post a reminder. And just to request that, you need to get an authentication token first, and there's they have these weird mechanisms of how this works, and I felt like such a hacker figuring that out. It was so exciting to get that JSON object back that said is live true.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good to know, because if we want to make a Twitch integration with Harder, your API knowledge could come in handy.
Quite possibly. And yes, I was going somewhere with this. Yes, and also a new thing I had to figure out is, because I wanted to have the database backup, because I'm a little bit confused by it. It's SQLite. SQLite. Yeah. And that is a file-based database. Okay. So it's and it's one file where everything is in. And so I'm worried about it being corrupted. Yeah. And we want to do something with a leveling system or whatever, and it would be kind of sucky if that just got corrupted and lost. Yeah. And so I've never done much with Linux before. I think we've talked about that. But on that, where we host this, the virtual server, that's a Unix based one. And so I figured out how to do daily backups automatically on the thing. Nice. Wrote a little script to create the backup, because it's better to use the SQLite tool, because it sets the right permissions, and so it isn't in the middle of being accessed when you're trying to copy it or something. Yeah, of course. So that helps with that. And so I had a script that executes that, and then I've had to learn how to do cron jobs. And I was very confused by it because there's no real error output. And then I figured out that it had to do with paths and the backups that were being created in a folder that was one level up because it was executed from somewhere else.
Right, yeah.
I hadn't written the fixed path of the backup, and that was that. Then I was googling like, what could this be? What's the error? And then eventually I go a folder up, and it's just full of backups because I had written this so it doesn't overwrite its own name, but to like append the date and then figure out what number it should be. So that it's like if there's already
one,
a couple. And I'm doing this only daily, but I just had fun figuring things out so they look like kind of cool and professional.
I do like the look of the Discord server. It looks very professional.
Yes. Now people just need to give me their pronouns.
When still says he's already in the Discord. And there's a C library, a C# library, which has also a Unity version for the Twitch API. Oh, okay. Played a bit with it. It makes the connection and data retrieving stuff relatively simple. Yeah. I'm sure there are enough solutions. But yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it again, I get excited again.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Twitch interactions, and I'd love to have the possibility for players to somehow influence the gameplay for the streamer.
That would be also something fun to test and to develop. Like with, because obviously you're gonna have to test all that. Someone has to like play around, and that would probably be super nice for participation. So with unlock the dev streams. Are we blurry?
Well, you are going in the front, so I guess maybe.
No, but
But it's not auto focus anyway, right?
No, it's fixed, and I feel like we're all compressed and pastelly everywhere. Well, I guess it's fine. It's fine, probably, yes. So yeah, but no, I found this figuring out fun because I figured it out quickly and I wasn't getting frustrated. Because I think that's sort of when we were talking last time about like abstract puzzle games like Antichamber and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I really loved Manifold Garden. As long as I was getting through quickly. I don't know. I haven't actually talked about that yet because I finished it after the Hootout, and I was really annoyed with it.
Why? Oh, we're looking good, says Vanessa. You look good too.
You. So, first of all, I think I fell also into the trap of thinking the puzzles are going to be more clever than they actually are. So, like, I had some very brainy approaches.
I never value that. I just think I'm going just a different way than the developers thought of. So, which way is more clever?
Partially, I was running around with some ideas where I was like, oh no, this is actually incredibly simple. But that was also still fine. The thing that tripped me up was one where I just could not find... Because usually the way I play this, I'm like, I just run around for a bit, I have a look, and I'm like, okay, what do I want to accomplish? And then I figure out how to accomplish it, right? And there was one where I could not find what I was supposed to do. There were some stairs.
That's the worst part, right? If you don't know what to do.
It felt like there was nothing. So there was this staircase, and of course this game repeats, like in all directions.
Yeah.
So they were endlessly repeated up, like a segment of it. And then it repeated every couple, miles into that difference or whatever distance. And I thought I had walked up the entire segment. I thought I went back to where it started to loop again. And then I got confused, and then I jumped down to fall past everything and check for, is there something? I fell in other directions to find it. And it took me forever, and I couldn't find anything. And so eventually, I do this again, right? I jump down and like flow past everything, and suddenly I see, oh, there's one of those things where you can put a cube in, like the receptacles or whatever. And it was on the stairs. And it was even... No, so what I tried to do was go on the other side of the stairs to walk them. And from there, I noticed that on the other side, from there that I came from, there was this thing. And so I was like, but...
How could you miss that? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess I didn't walk far enough, or I assumed it had looped before it actually had, or something. But I could never see this when I would jump around. Like, it was so hidden somehow. Not really, because all you had to do was walk up or down the stairs. But yeah, it was just, I guess, too much empty space. So that I got lost because I missed it once. And then I thought I had to look elsewhere. And so that was a bit annoying. But what really got me was I then had a glitch. So I get into a level where it's, with the rivers that you have to kind of redirect with those cubes. They had like arrows on them, if you remember.
I don't think I've seen that part, but I can imagine.
Yeah. And you had to like power like a water mill that then powers a bunch of gears, and that's how the door opens. And
very practical design.
And it came out straight, and the thing it had to go into was to across an abyss on another platform a little bit lower. And so you had to redirect it to the right ones and then to the left, and build a bit of a bridge out of some floating blocks so it can flow all the way over there. Okay. The thing was, there were no cubes to redirect the flow. So there was a tree, you always pick them like apples, and the tree just didn't have any cubes. So I could not redirect the water.
Okay, yeah.
And so I thought, okay, there has to be a solution here. I want to get the water over there. I have 2 of those big floating blocks that fall into the direction when the gravity is active. And I thought, okay, maybe I have to use them somehow. And sometimes you have to like use the repetition to get it somewhere. Like you can't get it straight over, but you can get it on the next iteration.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I was trying to solve this puzzle. I was running around. I was like, maybe I'm missing something, because then there's these dark blobs that only disappear when you walk there. And I was like, is there something hidden here? And I did that for 15 minutes probably, which doesn't sound long, but it's a frustrating time when you're not advancing at all. Yeah. And so, for the second or third time, I switch walls again to like look at it from a different angle, and suddenly there are apples in the tree, cubes in the tree, and the water is gone. And I'm like, what? How did that just happen? Because all I did was like... And I was like, how did that activate it just now? And then I noticed the water, I can hear it, but it's not there anymore. And then I Googled later and found out they have some glitches where they use the technology that they use to render all these instances. That apparently some graphics cards have problems with that, like when it gets too many or something. I don't know what it is, but that basically the way the cubes and the water is drawn, that's the thing they said. That's
only one of both can be drawn at the same time somehow.
It had worked before. I think there's a weird glitch somewhere, because apparently that was in reference to a bug where all the cubes would be invisible from the start. That's when they said that, but it also, I think they fixed it since then. Yeah, I think they fixed it like in May or something, but it seems to be still there. Because, in this one instant it happened. And when I restart the game, then it's fine again. And I had a similar glitch also previously where I tried to walk through a door, and as soon as I was like in the door, there would be like just a gray face from a cube in my way, and I couldn't pass through. And I also had to first of all, figure out that that's not a puzzle. Because in an abstract game, like, I did feel weird. Yeah. And I didn't try for very long, but at first thought is, okay, is this something I'm supposed to solve? But then a restart just fixed it. But at that point, I was so frustrated, and that I wasted time, not because the game was cleverer than me or outsmarted me in some way, but because it was broken.
Yeah.
I wasted my time.
Yeah, but
completely.
It happens, right?
Yeah, that kind of wrecked it for me, and I know it's not the game's fault. And it's still, I showed you the end. It's sadly in the...
Kind of is the game's fault, right? I mean, nobody can really fix all the bugs, but...
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably not fair to say the game is bad. Because of this. It's not working as intended.
That doesn't have to be the conclusion.
No, but it felt to me like that. I didn't like it anymore. Because now it was frustrating. And what was nice about it was a satisfying thing, that I got from like just the puzzles, how nice they are, how cool that mechanic is, how satisfying the movement, the falling, the sounds, the music, how everything is. Right? How satisfying the visual rewards are and all that stuff. Yeah. And suddenly it wasn't satisfying, it was frustrating. And that wrecked the flow for me. I mean, the end kind of...
tainted the whole experience.
A bit. But I mean, the end, that 2001
that could be
type thing...
topic as well, right?
Frustrating.
Bad game experience that ruined the game for you. Experiences that ruined the game for you.
Yes. Well, I mean, UX is kind of user experience, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the final thing, the 2001 sequence, is really awesome, and that kind of pulled me, a bit up again. And then also realizing that I know the sound designer, that was fun. Like not like we're friends or anything, but we met in Norway, and then again on GDC. That was cool.
It's always nice.
Yeah.
Makes you feel like I could do something like that. We were in the same party. No reason why I can't.
Or more like if we need something awesome, we know who to contact.
That of course too.
And yeah, so overall it is a really cool game. Oh, also the very last puzzle was getting very tedious, because there I also was so confused where something is, and at that point I didn't have the patience anymore.
And probably not the confidence that you can't see everything. Now
exactly.
You know that you're playing against the game and the bugs. That's discouraging.
So yeah, but overall I think it's awesome, and I'm sure that all these things are getting fixed all the time. It also seems very specific to certain graphics cards. So barring any bugs, I think that was really awesome. It's a good game.
Thanks, Jana, for
recommending it.
Yeah.
Yes. So did we have something else for chit chat, or is this our cue for going into this week's games that we played?
That would be the cue.
That could be, if it would be the cue.
It's kind of a nice transition as well, from your experiences of that game to...
So I'm clicking here just to update that. Yes. So for this week's Reverse Game Jam, we had Time Control as the theme, and so we decided to play The Day of the Tentacle and Super Time Force,
respectively.
Indeed.
However.
Respectfully. Yes, however, we had some trouble. We streamed this yesterday. It's very slow, if you want to check that out.
Very relaxed.
Yes, so if you feel like this is a bit slow and boring, like you have seen nothing yet, this is us being on, in performance mode. It's our entertainer mode, basically. Yeah. Yesterday, I think we were just chilling. So
on the other hand, if this is too exciting for you, well then check out Super Time Force Ultra / Day of the Tentacle.
Everybody can hear everything.
Reverse Game Jam.
Yeah. And
Especially
at least I
let
am
me
seeing my
maybe
microphone
mute
kind of
this
response.
a bit
because I don't think we need us double. So the problem was... Wait, should I put us over the other image again? So it's not confusing.
I don't know.
So that's the real us now. The real time us, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we checked out briefly Super Time Force, but the problem was, as we were streaming, we had to figure out how to hook up the controller. And so we did that with my Steam Link, because we are some ways away from the computer here. And somehow the game, or somehow the link, maybe jumbled up the controller layouts.
It's really confusing.
It didn't work, and you even reconnected it to the PC where you could use it as it was intended, but switching it back, it didn't remember it and just...
Yeah.
You couldn't even assign buttons from here.
Exactly. Something was really wrong. Somehow some buttons weren't working at all.
And it seems like the Steam Link that is designed to work with Xbox controllers should not be the problem, but solve the problem, right?
Yeah.
Well.
Weirdly enough.
So we only saw the intro, and the first few steps you can walk until you have to jump, which didn't work.
Jumping didn't work.
So we gave up, like any good gamer would do.
But it was a fun intro, I thought. You could skip it. We tested that as well.
It was a bit quiet too.
It was weirdly quiet. There were no soundtrack for most of the thing.
So the game was quiet.
No voice
we weren't
as
talking.
well.
So this is Oh,
I was trying it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I could jump.
And then when he's coming back, it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So we switched it over to one of my favorites of ever, is the Day of the Tentacle, which is cool. And I see we're looking at intently.
Yeah.
Wait, but this says that you can...
That's
what I tried. I read about this. But that's a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, maybe we should have changed the control. Anyway, do you wanna skip to us playing?
Sure.
Maybe. Yeah. So I never played Day of the Tentacle before. So
rudely.
Yeah. Not much I can say in defense of that, to be honest. All right. I wanted to finish Maniac Mansion before trying Day of the Tentacle and always failed. Not sure if this makes it any better. But I had a lot of fun.
Me too. I love this game.
It's so beautiful for the pixel art, really.
Yeah, and one thing that we talked about there also was how bad it suddenly looks when it's, made into vector graphics.
Yeah.
Because that looked pretty... the pixelation does a lot for this.
Somehow, yeah. Gives it more...
You can see that it's hand-drawn. Kind of. It doesn't feel like it's a curve, everything. Yeah, it seems like that there's a person involved. And then the upgraded one, it just loses... This is very detailed for this pixelation. But the upgrade is just as... It's smooth as hell every edge, but it's not more detailed. And I feel like that makes it look cheap. Like a cheap vector animation, rather than a really good one or a hand-drawn one.
Like the old Flash games, I think, is exactly.
Yeah. Wait. Jesus.
Wait for what?
See what I did there?
You didn't transition?
So here's what we've been looking at. The heck.
Vendesil, you should have told us. We're making fools of ourselves here.
Maybe it's this way. I'm always trying to talk not too visually, so the people who listen to it on Spotify or something aren't excluded. Maybe it wasn't immediately obvious that I'm referring to something that we're seeing. Man, I don't know. But yes, this is the...
Oops.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it looks or sounds like intended.
Apologies. Well, I guess you didn't really miss anything.
Yeah, just a nice pixel art we're talking about.
Yeah. No, there was a brief thing where we showed the other game.
All right.
Where we got stuck. And this is mostly of what it looks like. I guess we referenced the intro briefly. Oh no. Oh, this took a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. So yeah, quick view of that. And yeah, and then yes, so you were just saying you have not played it. And
it's really fun. It's weird coming back to an adventure that looks like that, has like this kind of humor, but you don't know yet.
Mm.
It's really refreshing, but it does kind of miss out on the nostalgia I have like for the other games. And I wonder if I could like create that by playing this game more and more, and then like if I play it now through, then in a couple of years it will have the same kind of
probably
feeling.
will.
Give it 10 years, maybe. And I do kind of wonder, or kind of want to finish the game.
We should,
because it's really nice. It's just a nice, fun game. Fun
absolutely.
adventure. Yeah, it has this nice comic atmosphere. It's not too silly, but it's kind of serious, but on a silly side. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's about like saving the world, but it's not.
I mean, it's silly, but it's not dumb.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm trying to say here.
It's some really good fun, and I just kind of feel you notice the Tim Schafer element. He has this particular sense of humor. Somehow I enjoy that.
Everything voiced.
That's
so
nice, yes.
Apparently one of the first games that was voiced completely.
Yes.
And it does make like a great difference. Although the voice actors partly don't really seem to know the situation they are voicing right now. So that you kind of see that. But if this is like the first time they made this, I guess there's some learn curve to be expected, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was in like one or two scenes that one of the, especially the side characters, like I think it was that the weird guy with the stamps. He had sort of where he was supposed to be upset and shouting, or he was like red and shouting, but the voice actor was like, "Oh, I'm very upset right now." That kind of tone where I just figure they probably didn't see the animation. So they know they're supposed to be upset, but they don't see, that level of upset. You know, so I think that a couple of these look like this. And I also know this problem from having worked at the Delic, because that was like, as like always the case, you would get lines and then they never see it. Nobody's apparently there to tell them, or even if they are, they don't know, it seems, for sure sometimes. And
I remember doing that as well for another game I worked in as a contractor, where I listened in, and then they didn't have the game in front of them. They just had the lines, and then I had to remember where this line was in the game, the situation, and I could tell them, you're just now very excited, and then we tried a couple of times. But it's really it's tough. Sure. If you can't see the game, I think you really should for this kind of work.
Oh yeah, definitely. I also think that's nice. That's what's nice about Watch It Die games. You know, those They did like the Blackwell series. I think they published Techno Babylon. Unavowed recently came out. All the Blackwell games, I love them.
I know really of them. Yeah,
they're awesome. That's an awesome series, and Dave Gilbert is the guy who makes them, like with a small team. But he also records all the dialogue himself. So he hires actors or has some friends who are actors. I mean, I know, for example, that one of his regulars is the same one from Primordia, the little robot, Crispin. He also voiced the ghost character in the Blackwell. You have the woman with the ghost companion, and he also voiced him. Also very neat. And so I guess he knows what the game is he's making, and so he can like get because he's doing it himself. I feel like it's very necessary that there's a person who knows what's happening or is like invested enough to like properly direct it, like a proper director. Because I know that we also like sent some guy with with them to record it. I don't think he like knew the game inside out, so I don't know what the point of that was. Because he was just, I don't think he was involved. It was just a friend of our boss or something.
Okay, that's sounds a bit weird.
Or like a producer type person, you know. I'm saying that he just invited some random guy off the street. I mean, just that he wasn't like, I never saw him again at the company. I saw him like twice, and so it was like he came to visit.
Okay.
Maybe from another company. I don't know. It's been a long time. And sometimes a producer would be with them, but very rarely would be like the actual. Or I don't know. I don't actually know if like Kevin went a couple times as well, because they did re-recordings and things because of this issue. But it just seems that it just needs a dedicated person who like actually knows what's what, like a proper director. You always need a director to figure out what the actors have to do. So that should be interesting if we ever get into that, especially if we're thinking about going into some sort of 3D adventure, maybe with actors.
I just get some PTSD from thinking about this too much. Because I remember we had like multiple Excel sheets with the lines, and then we were working on them until the last day before they should be recorded, and then somehow the wrong sheet got there and they didn't do all the lines, and it was someone's fault, not mine, of course.
Oh no.
No. That was horrible. That was horrible. Yeah.
Well, probably, especially when we talk localization or something, it sounds like it's gonna be some work.
I wonder if you should really like just play the whole game, like all the dialogues, and like record them, and then do it like they would record their voices to like a movie. Is this too much work to do? Because that seems like the only way you could really make sure that the voice actors know the situation. They really can see it.
I mean, that sounds like too much work. Yes, I think. Like if I'm planning this now, and I'm kind of, I mean, obviously, if we're kind of looking into motion capture and stuff, that's surely a different process, because then you need like an actual performance and we'll probably record it there. But then,
would you record the sound, the audio as well there?
I mean, especially if we want to do some sort of face capture, then you also need the actual audio.
Yeah, I see the reasoning. I just wonder if they would be equipped to do that.
No, but I think that's part of it.
Is it? Because it's like
I also feel
capture.
Like no, but you're capturing still a performance. I mean, what would be the point of capturing the exact lip movement if you don't capture the sound as well? And aren't they always wearing like one of these like announcer, like talk host, TED Talk microphones?
I should have seen that. I'm not sure if they always do that.
I guess only if there's dialogue, but I feel like I've seen Willem Dafoe and Ellen Page with one of those cool headset type.
Oh.
Or maybe that's just a guy next to it with a boom. I mean, it's possible. Maybe you just shoot it like a movie. And but either way, I think if I would plan this, I would either, depending on how I want to do this, right? Do I want the animators to decide the performance, or do I want the actors to decide the performance? Is either you animate it first and then let them dub it, or you just let them do a performance and then animate everything according to the performance that they set. But either which way, because I think the problem in part is they're supposed to dub something, but the work is not done yet for them to see it. So everything happens at the same time. So they're doing a performance that they don't know what this is going to be, and they're doing one without knowing what this is going to be. Then suddenly you have to put two different performances together and just hope it works.
You also would need voice actors who are able to do the motion acting as well.
So you need actors, yeah.
Yeah, you need actors.
They do talk sometimes.
Can they now?
But either which way.
Sounds very expensive.
What I would for sure want to do is direct the whole thing. I'm not happy to just send this off with a rough script and a Skype call or whatever.
I can go with them.
I would want to, of course I would want to direct this. I mean, it's basically an interactive movie. Of course I want to direct the movie. But I think even then, I guess it could happen that sometimes things don't quite, like if you do scene by scene.
You will have to do changes.
Yeah, scene by scene can mess you up, kind of. That's also something I had with the production 2 years ago. That we were rehearsing it for each scene, and then putting it all together. It was suddenly such a slog because everything was so angry and the entire time. For each scene that made sense, but putting them all next to each other makes it into it's only rage the entire time, you know. And there was.
Can imagine.
So in putting it together, we had to like walk everything back and change everything, and so that's. I guess we'll see. I have to contact a lot of people and get quotes and stuff to like see what this would cost.
A little bit afraid, but we'll see.
I already saw in an example that may have been exaggerated, but I saw like 20,000 for a motion capture project.
Oh, I don't doubt it. And that would be just motion.
But it would be doable, I guess, with the funding.
Yeah, question's always like, where do you want to invest the money, and what do you get from it? And I think motion capture might not be like the wrong alley to really put a lot of money in if it really.
Yeah, especially I was also thinking like
expresses itself in the game as well. Like,
I think that could be really
it's
cool.
Very noticeable, good animation, but it could like go like completely wrong as well, right? We could try it, and it's gonna be the worst thing you ever seen, and we just take it all out again and use just mix some more animations instead.
I doubt that would happen. And either way, we would have captured the voice performance, so it's fine. I don't know, I think that it would, if we figure out basically a pipeline, if we know how it works, what it costs, if we can maybe even grow in that sort of direction, that's basically what I want to see if I can, sell this in the application, because they always want to see growth and stuff, right? And what it does for the region and things like that. For one, it would be cool if we could make a bunch of games like this, because I think they're very appealing. I have like 3 ideas ready to go right now that are like this.
Okay.
And if we could like build sort of first of all, we could do pretty much anything with that. And what if we eventually get so good at this stuff and we make some money and we build our own motion capture studio and then make lots of money providing these services for other people?
So
I have a long-time plan.
That sounds like
long-term
our
plan?
best investment would be to try to make it ourselves, like
Eventually.
buy 2 suits, the equipment you need, and then just do it here. Like you get one, I get one, and then we play just every role in the game.
And I figured that would be a step when we have everything else figured out, when we know how everything works. You know,
So
because
you think we should look at how professionals do it first before we try it ourselves?
So first we try to work with it. Like, what's the data we're getting? How are we working with it? How does this process work?
How could we do it better?
Exactly. Then we figure out what are they doing on their end? Because obviously you don't just record the tracking, you have to solve it, you have to clean it up, all those kinds of things. Like, how difficult are they? Then maybe we buy ourselves like a starter set of just a couple cameras. Maybe just what you need for VR.
I wonder if we can find like YouTube tutorial right now that would
for
just
sure.
like show us how to do it in Unity.
Probably. I'm just saying, you know, and with time and with confidence and with money, we can maybe, you know, basically just go the next couple of steps. Like basically build ourselves the infrastructure that we need to not, you know, outsource that, but to maybe even use it as a kind of side hustle.
Yeah, that's a thought I think I've heard before from one of my previous bosses. They didn't manage to do it, but hey, we're getting funding.
We're very good at many things, so maybe we'll figure it out.
Well, we still have our company, so
exactly. It would be kind of cool. I mean, I would love to experiment with this stuff, but paying very much money for an experiment is difficult, right? And like even...
But that's where you get like prototype funding for, right?
Exactly. I was just thinking in like future terms, like if we eventually had our own mocap studio, that would just be neat to have for like just playing around with it. Like, yeah, doing just nonsense where it's like usually you have to think, is this really like a viable project does it pass the culture thing? The culture check.
The culture test is I think it's very easy if you like make everything in Germany.
But you know what I mean, right? Just for like a dumb idea based on a dream you had last night. That's not going to be cool next week, you know, you would not shell out money for that, but if you had like this thing, it doesn't cost you anything to like waste your time, then that would be really neat. That's what I wish for a lot of things, to just have stuff and not being in this position of having to figure out how to best invest my money here and there. And anyway, the Date of the Tentacle.
Great game. So the time aspect is really, really nice as well. So you have like 3 people, one in the present, one in the past, one in the future. Yes. Get to control them. Interesting that you start just with the past and the present. So that's how far we got in that, like 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours. Me clicking away.
Yeah, the thing is that she's stuck in a tree.
Right, yeah.
So...
I have to get rid of the tree so she doesn't get stuck there.
Yeah.
Of course.
You even kind of interacted with that puzzle already, if you remember. There's a tree outside, and you talk to George Washington.
About the cherry tree, so I have to make sure it looks like a cherry tree. So
so he goes
and chops it
to
show. Because he's only chopping cherry trees, which is probably...
family tradition, yes.
Yeah, relevant, historically correct.
Probably true.
Yeah. Probably.
It seems they have a couple of things in there that are actually...
Yeah, like the factoids.
Yeah.
You can play off. That obviously we don't know. But
we know very little things. It's sad but true. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
We should,
continue.
Yes, we should make some food. We're having enchiladas again because we just could not get enough. And then we should just stream some more. Because it is fun, and I actually want you to finish it because it is cool. And then you can always think back to this time where you had to sleep on my couch. Played one of the best games.
Yeah. Every time I see the game, I will think back on this time in my life.
With much fondness.
Yes.
So, I guess, does that bring us to our topic of the week?
Well, if you look at it, you have a very neat UI. It's very old school. I think like the verbs you have in the game, they're very pretty, but not really very readable. And you can see that if you go to the advanced or like the new graphics, that they also put like every thing as an overlay, which is also an improvement.
I agree to disagree.
To the topic of bad UI experiences.
Huh? Yes, this is what I wanted, right?
I think so. Worst UI experiences. That's true. Yeah. I think we can immediately go to browser, right?
Oh,
because we probably want to look at some examples.
I guess. Well, then I didn't have to. Well. Well. Wait. No, this is already all set up. Wow. Very confusing. It's a taxing job, this streamer business. Okay, what is the example we're looking at?
Okay, so should I start
with?
Okay.
With what?
I have a couple. With differently bad experiences and some good experiences as well. Yeah, it was kind of a tough topic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't really think of much because I generally pay no attention to it. So it has to be like really, really, really offensively bad, and I can't remember that has happened.
Well, then maybe we should start with what you should know, at least a little bit.
Okay.
Arcanum. I think that is my worst UI experience.
That's bad?
Oh yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. But let's take a look.
So wait, let me look for large images.
So in general, I think the interesting thing with Arcanum is that this is a great game that I had a lot of fun with, but every time I'm stumped with how bad the UI is, how abstruse and how weird some decisions and how very unintuitive.
Why can't I just open this?
Most of that is. I think you can. Oh, you're searching with Google. Okay.
Okay, it's still blurry, but I guess we can sort of see the UI.
Okay. That's bit too big, right? Anyway.
Well, that's
not working.
That's weird.
I was thinking about maybe finding some Let's Play or something.
But that would also be cut off at the bottom.
Alright.
So here we just...
What about the picture is cut off at the bottom?
Oh.
Yeah. That looks better.
Let me see how this is if I do this. What? Not the link. just want to open the image.
I think most of the games that really had bad UI are old. You can just
zooming on the phone is difficult.
Oh, okay. Right. So maybe that's enough then.
Let me see.
The thing with the role-playing games is that you have like a lot of stuff that does play a role, and it's hard to really decide which is the most important stuff that should get the most space. And most of my grievances with UI is basically that they don't use the space very well. So in that case, you can see on the left, on the right, you have your health bar and your mana bar, but then you can see just a range of different buttons, differently sized, different icons, of course. You can see right of the health bar this shield. I think that's a toggle button to decide if you're in combat or not.
Okay.
So you could like start a combat before walking over to, because they had astonishingly 3 different kinds of combat. Turn-based, real-time, and something in between, I think. Which all work differently and mean your equipment is differently useful. Because the speed in which you hit or like the damage you do per hit changes with these variables. I think like in real time they just hack, while turn-based, like each hit takes significantly more time.
I've never played a turn-based.
I always do, because I feel like it's much more forgiving, much fairer. Yeah,
I always play real time.
Then under the toggle you have your money, because that's something you need to know on your HUD all the time. Left would be repair, I think, repair button beneath the money, and right of the right button beneath the money is stealing, which is an action. Then in the middle at the bottom you have your toolbar or your action bar. You can put in like spells, I think there are. You can put in items you have to quickly use with the numbers. Underneath you have a description field that's always like black unless you hover over something. It can give you information about. Then on the right side you have the 3 what is that, like ability tiers, the magical abilities like spells and stuff, then your skills, which is the key, I think, and the bottom one would be mechanical skills, like using tech, creating stuff. And then at the top right side you have the day of the time of the day, not in a normal clock, of course, but a nice pictogram that changes when it gets dark. You can see the sun rising, I think, at that point. Then there is a button that doesn't have an icon, but on the left side you can see there's a hourglass. I think you can push that button to pause, maybe.
Or to sleep.
Oh, to sleep. Yeah, it's to sleep. Right, exactly. Then
see, I can read this fine.
the middle upper thingy, I don't even know. There are 3 slots I can see. I don't know why there are 3 or what they are.
Maybe it's effects.
Maybe it's effects if you're like
burning,
for example. Then on the left side there is another button and this infinity sign, or maybe it's a mask and 2. So I think these are like godly favors, I think. when you do a skill especially well, so you roll a 1 basically, you get one of these, and you can use them on your next skill roll, because everything in the game I think is rolls. For example, if you want to charm somebody, but you want to be really sure that you have a good chance, you can use one of those.
You think? That sounds like a too complicated mechanic.
Yeah, but it's in the game.
Are you sure?
That's in the game. Yeah.
I never counted that.
I have never used that as well, but I found out
Do you think that's
reading
like
about it.
Like your skill points that you can spend or something?
No. I'm pretty sure that's not that. Yeah. And then you on the left upper side, you have your first one on the left to right is options or your menu, then your log, then the next thing would be your character sheet, and then the inventory. And of course you have like multiple characters that are on the left side listed, and I think everyone has a character sheet and an inventory, and if you want to access it, you have to talk to them. I think in the new version, like the one I'm playing, or maybe that was a mod, you can go and right click on the face as well and go to the inventory directly. But when the game came out, you had to talk to your followers to see their character sheet and to see their inventory. And of course they can carry stuff for you, then you have to take it back. That was always like a huge mess because you don't have that much space in your inventory, and you find like lots of stuff and you never know what you want to keep, what could be useful, what can't be useful. Most of the things have some use, and you have to find out if you want to be a tech character who needs like the springs, or like a herbal guy who needs all the herbs. It's just so much. It really is much, especially with, you can go technical or magical, and you need different skills for that, and there are like the abilities in between. The 3 fighting mechanics they implemented, it's a lot. But this interface is not making it easier, and as you can see, there's a lot of like things that make it look like it's what's it called, steampunky, just to make it look steampunky. But it uses like a lot of space you don't have to cover up if you like don't need to. But that was how interfaces were done back in the day. You had your game view, and then you put everything around to frame your interface. And yeah, it's a really good design, but it's really so confusing as well. And if you go into inventory or the character screen, that's even, it's not better. Let's just leave it at that. It's not better. If you want to throw away stuff, you need to drag it on a special slot, and then you would throw it on your feet, but you can't like just drag it outside the window, stuff like that. It's just, it makes everything, you can do a lot of things, and they manage to enable you to do that with the interface, but everything just takes a lot of time, is mostly needlessly complicated, or you just don't need it that much, and don't need to see it like all the time while you play the game. So it's just weird amount of screen size it takes off. Yeah, but it's a great game, but really bad UI experience.
I see. So is this your worst one?
It's the worst one I really play and like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. As I said, I have trouble spotting that unless it smacks me in the face. And usually I'm just fine. It's just, okay, that's what the game looks like. So I usually can't think of much. I mean, the only thing that comes sort of to mind is that I don't like the menus in the 2008 Prince of Persia, the cel-shaded one.
Yeah.
Somehow they feel like they're slow and clunky. You always have sort of an animation in between. If you click on something, sometimes you have to click twice. It seems like it first needed to select it and load the background image or something. But that's, you never have to interact with it unless you're starting the game, so it's not really that bad. I like that the game itself doesn't have any hard elements outside of how many light things you've collected. So bad UI. Like even like when we talked about or when Red King did the Morrowind one.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have noticed that it's weird. I mean, it is weird now that I think about it, but I wouldn't have noticed because I would have just been like, oh yeah, that's Morrowind.
Yeah, I stumbled over Morrowind again when I researched bad UI for this. And apparently Morrowind had the best UI.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, apparently. Like, I don't know, fans of Morrowind, I did you wrong, maybe. It was just like looking at it without being able to interact. It really looked like it didn't take all the space it could have in places like the dialogues. And it felt really weird. And everything's boxed and really very delicate and very UI, just like not trying to be anything but UI. Not integrated into the rest of the game, I guess. But apparently you can open a lot of stuff in the UI, and it's just all windows, and you can like drag the map somewhere you want it to be. You can scale the map. You can open your inventory and scale it as well, and then you will have. No, it's not. Is that Morrowind? No, it's Morrowind style UI. For Elder Scrolls. Apparently people want Elder Scrolls to have a Morrowind style UI. Yeah, I think you need to do UI or interface or
menu, I would say.
A menu?
Oh, yes. Right?
Well,
is this not what you will? Is this not more? This is Morrowind, right?
Yeah, that's Morrowind. And I think you can see that it's like multiple windows.
It's basically windows.
Yeah, you can close them individually. You can just fill it up, and I guess if it just like remembers how big you made your windows, and if you open them again, it just appears at that position. That's rather neat.
That sounds like a good example then.
Yeah, kind of does.
But I guess this is the thing that's a bit weird.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like because it feels weird that
sort of a list.
Yeah, but the idea behind like you have some words you can ask them about, I really like, but that the dialogue is sort of like captured in this window feels just weird because it should be like part of what you are experiencing and not like a separate thing from the game that needs to be in a frame.
I mean, maybe this was a kind of continuation of interactive fiction where you had certain keywords that would elicit responses, and instead of trying them, they just list them all.
Yeah.
And then you click it. And I guess they were too far along into the development when Gothic came out a year earlier and did the dialogue systems like we know them now.
I don't know.
Although they still do that, right? Isn't Skyrim also kind of with the list, but that's your responses?
No.
Right?
No. We have responses, yeah.
But it's a list of responses. And then you kind of scroll through it to select, but it's still a list. It's still the same thing.
No, it's complete sentences. You react to what you are told. It's not like you only have
But
one
in
keyword
principle,
and get infos about it.
Okay, hold on. Skyrim.
Yeah, but Skyrim is the next thing. Yeah, because a lot of people were upset about the Skyrim interface because it was optimized for controller.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it at all.
I mean, it was a bit weird with the tabs that you have to go through.
Yeah, I think the interface, the inventory was something a lot of people were upset about.
Right, dialogue.
Although I wonder if they even changed a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, look at this. They still have a list of things you can say.
But you always have a list of things you can say. It's just that's on the right side and not underneath numbered.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Still the same thing.
No.
It's the exact same thing. You have the text.
Something completely different.
Honestly. Completely the
same
thing. Just
also a list.
There's a list on the right that makes it the same thing.
No. In Morrowind,
it's
you have
literally
keywords.
no different.
Keywords.
Just because they wrote
they're always
longer
the
keywords.
Same keywords. They're always the same.
You still have some stuff that you can say on the right.
You can ask everyone about the same keywords. You can't in Skyrim. You only have dialogue choices.
That's because it's an evolution. Now you can respond, contextually, but it's still the same thing.
No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Skyrim and Oblivion as well was brought up as a bad example of UI. I kind of liked Skyrim, the UI, and I think I didn't mind the Oblivion one too much when I played it. But looking back at it, that's another UI. So again, Elder Scrolls.
What? Why are these confusing? So this is all something else.
Oblivion Dawn UI. Yeah. I'm not sure what that is.
Oblivion. I just type menu and see if that brings something up. So like this?
No, that's well, you can see a little bit of it, yeah.
Oblivion mods.
Yeah. So that's what part of the problem was for a lot of people, that the interface only takes up like part of your screen all the time. And often there's like a lot of information there, and you would want to use the whole screen, because they had this idea that you can always see your character. You waste half of the screen every time. Oblivion, not only a game apparently.
What's this top?
Oh yeah, top left. Yeah.
So this is the right one now?
Exactly. As you can see, I mean, they could have at least made that window like higher, because the top one, you don't need to see the ceiling at that point. And obviously there's enough items there you can scroll through that would be a nice thing. Also the contrast between the numbers and the backgrounds and all that great all the time. And then at the bottom it's really, really we pressed
the wrong
together.
Windowsill says, let's see what you have prepared. Just gonna comment that with Roffel. I can understand why people do not like the Skyrim UI. Inventory management was extremely tedious.
Yeah.
I believe you are true, right? Correct? What you say is true. And you are correct. All them good things. But yeah, it's again one of those things where I just did it because that's the game.
Yeah.
Somehow
you can accept that stuff, but I can't.
I just find it's to me like okay, so this is the cost of playing. Actually,
I'm frustrated, but the UI should not be part of the game.
Actually, the one thing that I could think of is the UI in Tomb Raider 2 of the new one, like the Rise of the Tomb Raider. I can't say what it is exactly, but somehow it feels clunkier to me than in the first part. It's... Wait, let me see if I can find that one.
We're gonna take a look.
Oh, now I have to be entertaining by myself. Like always. Rise of the Tomb Raider. Let's see. Can we see some of the crafting menus or some such? No, that's not the menu I want. Where's the menu I want? Reveal yourself. So this looks familiar. That's the map. That's fine. Oh, okay. So... No, that's the... Is that not the first one? Because this looks to me like the first one. But maybe it isn't. Maybe it is. Here. Yeah, I guess it is this. Because, you have these menus. You can upgrade certain things. You have a couple of categories here. And then when you go into the category, you have these lists. But you can't unlock all of them. You can only unlock the ones that are at a certain level. And then you have to unlock like 8 out of category 1. And you can do this in Brawler or in Survivor or whatever. But I found myself... Or like when you craft, it kind of looks similar. Yeah, here you can see you can only select one. But I would find myself taking just a longer time working through the menus. So it's also hard to remember. Or maybe I was more annoyed that all the abilities were boring. Something about it bothered me. Like I had to go through, anytime I got a skill point, I went through looking at all the available skills again. And somehow it does not feel as good as in the first one. But now that I think about it, maybe it was because the skills are kind of boring, yeah. Anyway, I always felt like that. Was I talking about how the menu is crap? It just felt slow. I felt bogged down using the menus. And then it didn't help that all the skills are boring. So I had to reread all of them all the time. But the first one, I was not that... I liked upgrading stuff in the first one.
I think the challenge of making a UI that's working for console players, but that you can give PC players as well, really limits, I think, how much both can go. And usually it feels like the console players get a better treatment there.
And I guess what we were talking about yesterday also counts. I feel like the Day of the Tentacle remaster that also allows controller is lacking some features for... I mean, it might be that it's designed for PlayStation, but I also didn't see like precision movement. Is at the very least, I would expect that the game allows you to, because the sensitivity is like regular, but sometimes you have to hit the exact item on the dialogues and stuff.
It does scale with how far you go, but it's really weird, and it's a bit too fast always, but not fast enough when sometimes you need to go big distances. Yeah,
I think that should have, for one, allowed you to select the verb with the D-pad.
That would have been great.
Yeah. You just cycle through and you don't have to go down and up again. You just cycle through and then select it and you use it. And I mean, I feel like I've seen this in one of the remasters.
I think for PC you had like shortcuts all the time.
You could use you press it O for open and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So that worked, yeah. And the other thing was I at least know something where you like press a trigger and then it goes into like precision mode, that the cursor then goes slower. Something small like this, just to make it more usable from the controller. Though what I did see in the PlayStation controller layout, that the other stick should basically cycle through the hotspots.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. But on the Xbox controller, they both do the same, so I don't know how that... But yeah, I feel like there were a couple of things that just didn't work well for the controller. Or could be better for the controller. Yes. What do you have? Do you have another one? One last one?
One last one. Well, I think like Dwarf Fortress is always like an example for bad UI. But it's just
no idea what that looks like.
Complicated game, and I think you need like a lot of shortcuts, or like a lot of stuff is mapped to.
What, Dwarf Fortress?
Yeah, Dwarf Fortress. A lot of stuff is mapped to like different keys, and you just have to learn the keys. Yeah.
Oh, so this is Dwarf Fortress?
Yeah.
Why did you tell me about this the other day?
It was
something interesting that it does.
No, that is like one of the games we talked about. Favorite games we'd never played, and have no desire to play.
But wasn't there something interesting that they do with generation or story or?
Exactly, it's a game that's basically all generated, and it's got a lot of rules, a lot of stuff, and then you follow a bunch of dwarves there, and they have characters, they have desires, and everything's simulated, so it's like an immersive sim roguelike. And it's like hugely immersive with the amount of stuff that's in there. I mean, I think they started with Minecraft. When Minecraft came out, the dude was already working on Dwarf Fortress. I think Minecraft might have been even inspired by Dwarf Fortress. And he's still working on it as far as I know. Adding stuff, and yeah, you can, there are like curses, you can, like, all your dwarves can become vampires, and that changes the whole game, and they can die of illnesses of various kinds. It's apparently a very, very interesting game, but it looks just so hard to get into. I really have no desire to try.
Très interesting indeed. So Mendes says, if you want another bad example, you can look up the weapon menu for Soul Calibur 4. We shall do that. Libra of Soul mode. Well, that's a mouthful. And if you like some reference, you can look up a YouTube series called Good Design, Bad Design. I also, in Googling bad UI, I found a site that is deliberately bad. As a... Wait. Okay, let's look at Soul Calibur and then... Let me quickly...
A friend of mine's huge Soul Calibur fan. And every time we come together for our LAN party, he brings his GameCube and we play some Soul Calibur. Or was it GameCube?
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think like every character has one main weapon, and then you can get different alternatives. And I think there was something about like the souls of weapons.
Soup.
But yeah, and I always just played versus.
Huh? Oops. Okay. So this one?
Maybe. Well, that is Soul Calibur.
This one?
That's also Soul Calibur.
Oh. Is this a weapons menu?
I think so.
It is 6, not 4. What? Right. What does it mean?
It's sort of Soul Calibur 6.
Oh, I miss.
But yeah, it's the same. Screenshots.
Okay. So wait. But this has Libra of Souls in it. So is this what you mean? Is this the bad menu?
Is that the bad menu?
Well, I said, I am unable to tell.
It doesn't look particularly good.
It looks fine to me.
It's a menu.
It is a menu. And okay, so what was that called? It was called User in Your Face.
Yeah, that is. User in Your Face.
So good. Hi and welcome to User in Your Face, a challenging exploration of user interactions and design patterns.
Nice.
To play the game, simply fill in the form as fast and accurate as possible. So that doesn't work. Please click here to go to the next page. Only here works.
Choose password.
Then you get the question about the cookies a problem? Not really. The how can we help? That only goes up. Wait, why is this in a way? So, and still only goes up.
Nice.
And when you send it to the bottom, it goes very slow.
To the bottom. Your password requires at least 10 characters. Your password should have at least one capital letter. Your password must have at least one numeral. Your password needs at least one letter of your email. Your password can have at least one Cyrillic character. Okay. Choose your password is already in.
What's that?
You have to accept the terms and condition.
Yep. Lock.
Try locking it.
Close. Next.
Next.
Please do not forget to accept. Okay. Ah. Oh, and that doesn't work, of course, until... Oh. The scrolling is unbelievably slow. Can I drag this?
I don't think you can. Okay.
I can.
Very slowly as well.
Does this work? Can I press down? I can't.
This agreement shall begin at the term and the day hereof.
Oh,
the following organizations may link to our website without prior written approval. Government agency, search engines, news organizations, online directory. These organizations. Hurry up. By use of our corporate name, iframes, without prior approval. Reservation of rights, removal of links from our website.
This is genuinely irritating.
Disclaimer. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law. Okay.
So, next.
I wonder if you have to put in an email as well.
Donation.
No, so good as well.
.org. And this is okay. This is me. Please
upload image, but you can only download the image on the bottom. Choose 3 interests. Bottom right. Bottom right, unselect all.
Ah, nice. Purple, that's an interest. Dough. Tires.
Your age. Nice.
Hey! Number 1, okay. Invalid first name.
First name is still placeholder. I think you just have to remove the dots, as that should be enough.
No title selected.
Unlock.
Come on. Why?
But you have 4 minutes again. So the time kind of changed. Choose your country. By flag.
By discolored flag.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this one.
Oh, time is ticking. But now you have 5 minutes.
It counts up.
Oh, it counts up, right. Didn't even realize that.
Age and birthday don't match. Okay. Gender and title don't match. Oh, is this not selected?
Of course not.
Almost done.
Proof that you are a human. Select all pictures with a circle. Can you select all of them with a circle? With the bow. Okay. All pictures with the bow. So it's basically all. It's all.
Is it all?
All pictures. Yeah. Nice. Got some bad UI.
Yes. Anyway, right, we're doing something. Oh, that was visible.
It is a image.
Okay, it's gonna open somewhere else. Copy.
Second image.
Maybe paste.
Alright.
Go first.
Weapons menu. Oh yeah, it's oh, how small can you make the images? And obviously they have similar images as well.
Ah, yes, sure.
Then it costs
This
like
is totally bad.
differently kind of flames, blue flames and red flames. Come on, you can see that that's not really helpful.
I don't know the game.
Yeah, but you should be able to look at an interface and know what it's supposed to tell you, right?
Well, if I was playing it and knew what I was looking for, maybe I would. I don't know what these numbers mean. What's a power? What do I need power for? See, I don't know the game. So how can I possibly tell if this is bad or not? Anywho, it is a list for each weapon you found. It is really badly implemented. You can at least filter for weapon types, but if you have more than 15 weapons, it begins to lag and loading times and scrolling becomes unbelievably slow. Okay, I hear that. I don't like slow.
Right.
I got get enough of that at home, which means me, because I'm anyway. So what? Wait, what's happening? What am I doing? All right.
More bad UI? Do we have bad UI? Do you remember Far Cry 2?
Yeah. Was that bad?
No, that was good.
Okay.
It was good UI. You had like the map you took out and you could like still look around.
Yeah,
and they had like the that I really like the immersive UI. Totally got why you can't see everything.
I do remember liking that. I guess also Dead Space is an example for interestingly implemented UI. Do you have a list of things you like there?
No.
Okay.
No list of things I like there.
Because then I was gonna say then run through it, because it is almost wrapping up time.
You mean, yeah. Well, I remember like the old UIs of Ultima Online and the XCOM series, the old games. They were all very clunky as well. If you wanna see UI overflow, I guess you can search for WoW, WoW, and then RAID interface or UI. And then you can get some neat images. Third one, I think. Or one. No, it's not the next one, maybe. This one, yeah. And that's still a tame UI.
All things considered.
Yeah, search for UI instead of interface or screen. Just search for screen. I think that's how I found that last time. Because in World of Warcraft, they enabled you to kind of mod your own UIs. Yeah, exactly. And for a big raid with like, I don't know, 40 people, if you are the healer, you need to have a nice interface that shows you all of their health and of your stamina and all that stuff. Yeah, I think the third one or the fourth one could be something like that. Yeah, that's why you have like multiple green bars there. I think that's a healer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it does look more like you're playing now an Excel sheet than a 3D game. It buries the complete game. But you can see in the background there's like a 3-headed lava dog. I think.
Aha. Okay. Anything else you need to get off your chest?
Wanna have a look at my favorite UI?
Okay.
Fine, as a final thing.
Yes.
So Hearthstone. I love Hearthstone for the UI. I can't play it anymore because it makes me too aggressive. Because I feel it's kind of, I don't know. I can't cope with the luck factor anymore. But they just managed to make a game that's all feels contained in a box. And when you start the game, the box opens up. And then you have like your cards in there, and if you play against someone else, that's I think kind of an example, because that doesn't really look. It's part of the a tavern game, so that's not the actual game, but it looks pretty similar. It has the same style. I love that it feels so. It feels very physical. Everything seems to respect like some sort of universal rules about how things work. Basically, like yeah, you're looking again at something else.
What?
It's not really in game. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah. You can only see half of it, but they have like animated backgrounds as well. Everything with this kind of lens flare, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything in the game feels very like physical thing, like something that has weight. Like in especially like lots of digital trading games, nothing seems to have weight, but in Hearthstone, every card feels like it would weigh about like a kilo or something, because it has like this thick margin frame, like crystal that shows you how much mana it costs. Yeah, and I always feel like right at home when I start the game, but I had to deinstall it because I kind of keep playing and playing, but I never feel like I'm as good as I should be in a game. But I really need to play a lot of it to get to that point, more than I actually can with holding a job and stuff. So even a job as easy as ours, or as flexible as ours. Yeah.
I see. So, well, I guess this was the Hootout, I suppose.
For today, yeah.
Yes.
I think picking new topics should be still a part of it.
Yes.
But we have made a minor change.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next time. We're just not going to do any voting this week. We're going to do it live next time.
Yeah.
Where is my topic generator? I have it somewhere. I know I do. There it is. So let me drag that into focus. No, switch back. There
we go. Yeah, we're still not dropping the ball.
Yes. And did you notice we didn't explain anything today? Because you were going to hold us to that.
He would? Oh.
Yes, he said he'll hold us accountable or something like that.
All right.
So let's see.
Remembered.
Guilty pleasures.
Nice.
Okay. That at least I may be able to come up with something. That's the problem with this stuff. It feels like work now. I don't like this.
Yeah. It kind of has become work. Maybe
we need to
because we have
dial
to,
this back.
To play and think of topics and have
it's
to
too
think
much
about a game.
You know, I started this, I mean, obviously, so we can hang out and why not stream it at that point?
Yeah.
Because we're so very interesting. So, who are we to deprive people of that? But it used to be, and that was like my stipulation for this, let's just turn it on and talk.
Yeah.
And I mean, carting this equipment around, I guess that's fine.
Uploading it to all the different platforms.
That's not so bad. I mean, I am annoyed by this, that we have to do this every time, but it's okay. But then I only think about these topics like an hour before, because I don't spend my week thinking about this. I get very, then suddenly it's Friday almost, and then on Thursday evening I remember, oh shit, I was supposed to play something and to prepare something, and it's getting too much work.
We did wait until Thursday again. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be something that we're gonna dial back. I mean, we can give it a go, like a couple more weeks, but I feel like this is the thing that's too much work. And we just have to go back to just talking, because otherwise I think we're gonna start doing the Hootout.
Yeah,
it's too much.
But I think the topic still works, because you can think of it like just an hour before, and it's not too much. I mean,
maybe we should do that there too. If we do everything immediately, that we select the topic at the beginning of the stream, and then we just wing it, because that's literally what I'm doing anyway.
Right. I guess it's fun too, but then we don't have like the possibility of announcing the topic beforehand, so people get excited. As you can see, you're all like so excited. So many people here excited about the topics.
This is nobody really cares.
Maybe it wasn't a good topic as either. I guess the UI experience could have been, I don't know. Not the turn on for people.
I mean, if we do everything immediately, then maybe it becomes less of a, because I'm not supposed to prepare anything, so it can't be stressful. I am supposed to think of something in the moment. So like make this like a jam too. Here's the theme, now talk about it.
But should we should we generate a topic in the show or just like shortly before the show, and we could at least
I don't know if the announcement is that interesting. Let's just do it in the show. And people can be like, ooh, what's this gonna be about? Because everybody is so excited for that. Anyway, so I guess we have some things to talk jam.
Talking jam, yeah.
So that we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, I'm starting to feel annoyed by it. So
yeah.
That's probably not good. So we need to walk back so we keep doing it at least.
Sounds reasonable.
Yes. Alright, so that was
Hoot.
The Hootout. That's the thing. For me, it got interesting in the end because this interests me talking about this. And everything else is kind of we have to talk about it because
the start was interesting too.
Yes, that the parts where I get to talk about what I want to talk about rather than things I have to talk about. Yeah. So anyway,
that are kind of the parts where I get to talking.
Yeah, you like to be prepared and have a plan, and
maybe just I get a topic, you can do whatever.
No, you also need to improvise because you come here with your lists of hundreds of things. That also gets. That's why we said last time we need to narrow it down to like a top 5 or something, so it doesn't get. Because then you over prepare, and then it's like people listening to homework. We wanna avoid that.
Yeah, it's true.
Not just you like doing homework. Yeah. So anyway,
having done my homework, that's what I like. I don't like doing homework.
Having done it.
Yeah.
Yes. Good weekend to you too. Thank you, Renzo, and we'll see you next time. Actually, let's do this again, just for a very quick one. Join our Discord. I'm too lazy to post the thing, but just look around for it. Sure.
Yeah, go to thewizardinauticall.com. You can find a link to Steam, and on Steam you can see there's a post about the Discord, and in that post you can find a link to the Discord.
If you're on YouTube right now, it is linked on our page up at the links in the logo.
And if you're on Twitch, it might be at the bottom, or someone forgot to add it.
It's not in there, but it will be. By the time you watch this, it will be. So
I'm looking forward for that.
Sure. I guess we should actually stop streaming now. Okay. Then. Bye.
Bye.
What? That was a transition. Okay. It was. Oh. That button is just highlighted. I thought that meant my
bad UI experience.
Oh yes, OBS, worst UI experience. Actually, it's kind of nice. Anyway,
is it though?
I like it.
Topic for another day.
Actually, it's fine. When is it? Do you also use OBS, or do you use Streamlabs, or something else? I guess there may be more than the two that I am aware of. Yes, OBS. So. How do you do your? Like this person followed you and the chat in there and stuff. Is there like a thing for OBS? Because I think you told me that's only possible with Streamlabs.
Yeah, that's what Streamlabs
But I see it when you do it. So is this like a function here? While we're debugging this show? Because like the timer in the beginning, I like wrote my own program to update a text file because you can create a.
This is something we could actually talk about in the Discord too.
Ooh.
We do.
Interesting.
Might be easier.
But yeah, so it looked like I had to create a hack for updating a text file with the time code, and then it reads the text from the text file. But I wouldn't know how that works for displaying the chat. Yes, good. So we will be maybe making some changes. Maybe. I don't know.
Real evolve.
we're gonna build a terrible hut through adding all the subscribes and the chat here, and then over there we're gonna put the next voting, and then here maybe another logo or something.
That would be
and
nice.
Then
maybe that would improve the visuals.
Then maybe some ads in the middle just to get that extra revenue.
Yeah.
And that should be pretty cool. This is already great, so can only get better. All right, I'm on the correct button now. So again, this time for real, because I'm really hungry. I still gotta roll those enchiladas up.
Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.